Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your September 2018 mid-month general readings. Thank you for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers. Thank you, as always, for those of you who continue to follow my YouTube channel and for all your likes and shares and subscribes. And always a big thank you to all of my clients out there, both regular and new, for continuing to keep me so busy with personal readings. If any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, live or recorded, you can get more information and contact details by clicking on the description bar of any of the videos I post. And you can also go to my YouTube pages, my YouTube homepage, and click on the little About button there. Please feel free to email me directly at maggie1mcguire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week, so turnaround time is pretty quick. I can usually get back to you within the first 24 hours of your initial contact. And scheduling is anywhere from a couple of days, a few days, upwards of a couple of weeks, but almost always within a 2-week period of time or so, we can set up a reading for you. Because it is the bulk of what I do. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. I do a wide variety of readings in all areas of life. And you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also provided. The link is great for fast answers to some of the easier, simple questions. But for the traditional readings, send me an email and we'll go from there. All right, let's move right into this reading. This is for the water sign of Pisces, our lovely mercurial little fish, for the remainder of September 2018. So we're looking at the last couple of weeks of September. All right, Pisces. If you know your rising and your moon sign, watch those as well. They can provide sometimes additional insight. Okay, Pisces, we have the world followed by the moon. We have the Seven of Swords followed by the Hermit. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and guidance for the remainder of September 2018 is the Two of Wands. So it looks like some significant energy for the remainder of September for you, Pisces. You have 3 major arcana cards, divine timing and orchestration and energies of God, spirit, your angels and guides, 1 sword card and 1 wand card. And it looks like it's more or less maybe a quieter contemplative period for you over the next couple of weeks. There appears to be some completion energy here, although there may be some cloudiness or uncertainty about what to do after a chapter of your life has ended or something has come to a conclusion, or whether or not you should bring something to a conclusion. And it looks like your overall energy and focus and advice for the remainder of September is in looking down the road at long-term goals, because your crowning card from the bottom of the deck is the Two of Wands. So you can see this man is standing at a crossroads and he's trying to figure out which way to go. Do I go left? Do I go right? And the key to choosing the right path is in having a clear idea of where you want to end up. So it's about long-term thinking and planning, regardless of what area of your life this may be resonating in. Some of you, it might be in the relationship area of your life. Some of you, I feel like there's more energy in perhaps a project or career work and finance, that area of your life, although for some of you it might also be spiritual path. So it's about, where do I want to be in this area of my life a year down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 20 years down the road, and fixing on a particular destination or a specific direction you want to go into makes the path of choosing it easier. Because then it gives you a clear path of making decisions that propel you toward closer and closer towards your goals. For example, if it's in the relationship area of your life, long-term thinking and planning would be, okay, what kind of relationship do I ultimately want to be in? Do I want to get married, have kids? Do I want to live with somebody? Do I want to just have a more or less separate life but have a companion? That's in looking at what your long-term relationship goals are like. And so then it makes the path of getting there easier, meaning it makes the decisions you want a little clearer to see. Like if you're looking for to build a home and a life and a family with someone, then you wouldn't invest in relationships or begin dating somebody who wasn't also looking for the same things you would, because making a decision to do that would not be putting you on the path towards achieving or accomplishing that goal. And the same with job, work, and career. This holds true for any area of your life, Pisces. So long-term thinking and planning is the overall energy and guidance for the remainder of September. And it looks like, again, we have some completion energy here, although I think some of you are on one side of this fence and some of you are on the other, because we have the World accompanied by the Moon. Now, the World is the last major arcana card in the tarot, so this is a card of major completion and achievement. A significant chapter of your life has ended. Perhaps you're transitioning from one job into a completely different job or a completely different career path. A long-term relationship or marriage may have ended. And for some of you, this may be something that has or is concluding in a significant way, something significant in your life. And some of you may be considering whether or not it is time to put something behind you or lay something to rest in a pretty significant way, like once and for all as well. The world typically represents completion in a positive way, that you've achieved something major in your life. The first major arcana card in the tarot is the Fool, and he has the 0 at the top of his card, and all the cards after that are about the Fool's journey through life, which is our journey through life, and everything we learn and all our triumphs and failures and lessons and all of that until we reach the end, the top of the mountain, the top of the world at the last major arcana card here. So completion energy. Now what clarifies it is the Moon, which sometimes is not that clarifying a card, because things are not always so clear with the Moon. When the Sun comes out, when the Sun card comes out, it makes everything transparent and illuminates things. The Moon, things look very different under the light of the Moon. There's a lot of shadowy corners and hidden recesses. It can speak of deep spirituality or feelings kind of stirring in the pit of your stomach, maybe having a feeling about something but being not quite sure. It can represent that the way maybe is not always so clear and cloudy, and you may need to rely on your intuition or a sense of spirituality as well. So it's an interesting combination of cards. And again, for some of you, this is going to mean that something has concluded in your life, a pretty major something a significant part of your life has concluded, and you may not be exactly sure where you're going from here on out, or what to do next, or what do I work for next, or what do I work on next, which is why, looking down the road, maybe looking at your long-term goals, adjusting your long-term goals, or setting new long-term goals. What do I want to accomplish next to really do in my life is there. Now, for some of you, you may be in a relationship or in a job or on a career path or spirituality path that you may be feeling some stirring, some undercurrents, in your intuitive sense or your gut instinct, that something maybe has run its course, or you don't feel like you're going to get anything more out of it. And you're wondering if it's time to put this behind you once and for all. Maybe it's not really what you're meant to be doing for the next portion of your life, meaning that it was a path that served you well for a time, but it feels like perhaps it's that this portion of your life, this portion of what you're doing is done, but you're not quite sure of that. These are just kind of feelings that are kind of stirring around in your subconscious, or kind of, in your deep intuitive sense, higher self, some people call it. I call it intuition, which again, you may be thinking down the road, these goals that I'm working towards, what am I working towards? Am I still working towards the same goals? Have I already reached them? If so, should I set new ones? What am I really doing with my life? And that just feels like kind of the energy of what's going on. And I feel like some of you may be making plans already to do something else. You may be formulating plans. I get that. I feel like for the majority of you, it's not an action-oriented time that you're in. You're thinking about the future. You may be putting some plans into motion, or you may be formulating some kind of plans for what you might be doing. But I don't see it as, really taking off over the last couple of weeks of September. It's more an internal process. If you are taking action to put some plans into motion, particularly if they represent leaving one thing and going to something else or doing something different, I feel like you're not being very blatant or upfront about it. And I don't feel like you should be either, because at or towards the end of September 2018, we have the Seven of Swords and the Hermit. So the Seven of Swords sometimes referred to as the thief card. It can imply a sense of deception, slipperiness, deceit sometimes. Sometimes it can represent theft or exploitation. But the thief card also gets a bad rap sometimes because it can also represent perhaps using unorthodox means to achieve your goals. I mean, sometimes we all have to operate in a somewhat covert or secretive manner to achieve what we want or accomplish what we want, which is fine as long as there's not, karmic negative harm that it's causing other people, because that will come back to us in some form or another. It can represent, being secretive about something and kind of keeping your cards close to your chest. Being undercover with something. And it's that energy is further underscored by its accompanying card, which is the Hermit. The Hermit can represent a more solitary time period. You may be, particularly more at the end of the month, keeping more to yourself, maybe not being quite so socially active, being a little more isolative. Because that's what the hermit does. I mean, what do hermits do? What do monks do and other monastic people do? They withdraw from the distractions of conventional society. Why do they do this? They do this to seek out wisdom, insight, kind of use the sum total of their life's experience to figure out a solution or a path or insight, gain some insight or wisdom on something. And that can also represent, being alone during that time period, because that's kind of a taking a step back and kind of figuring things out is often, most of the time, something we can only do, by ourselves in our own space. So again, I feel like whatever area of your life this is resonating in for you, Pisces, work, career, spirituality, relationship, maybe something that includes, a mishmash of those things. I feel like you're keeping your thoughts and your feelings to yourself, and any plans you might be formulating to yourself or thoughts about the future to yourself. And I feel like for those of you for whom this is kind of an ongoing process, I feel like you ought to kind of, if you're planning on leaving something behind, a significant chapter of your life behind, or closing something out, for the time being, I feel like you ought to, maybe not share it too much with anybody else, if you can help it. I also get the sense that there's a few of you, for some reason, you're bringing something to a close in your life, and maybe towards the end of September, the beginning of October. I just get the sense, and this phrase actually went through my head, that you're slipping away quietly, stealthily, like at night or something of that sort. It's kind of like you're leaving or taking a sabbatical. You're not telling anybody. You're just kind of sort of sneaking off. And I don't really feel like it's either positive or negative. It's just you're being very kind of, you're just kind of closing something out and leaving very quickly and quietly. So that's kind of interesting too. This will be interesting to get feedback on, because it has this very sort of quiet, contemplative sort of energy. I don't get any significant red flags coming up or anything like that. It feels like a very somewhat calm internal process that you're doing. Some of you may be transitioning out of something very quickly, quietly, and suddenly, because you don't want to face any potential fallout or, chatter if you go about it in a more upfront, blatant way, like maybe leaving a job or leaving even a relationship or even moving away too. It's not clear to me why, just from the general cards here. Okay, Pisces, well, that pretty much sums up your September 2018 mid-month general reading. I hope that it was helpful to you in some way, or at least not too confusing. This is a kind of an interesting, little bit cloudier one. So anybody who feels comfortable giving feedback, please, as always, do. You are welcome to. I do read all the feedback I get on the readings. I will see you all again, Pisces, in a couple of weeks for the October 2018 general readings. I will be I'm still in Europe now, but I should be back in the States and back in California at the first part of October, so I look forward to seeing you back there again. And again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, please feel free to email me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. You can get that information by clicking on the description bar of the videos I post, or by clicking on the little About button on my YouTube channel's homepage. I do relationship readings in all areas of life, love and romance, of course, reconciliation, compatibility charting, career, work, and finance, as well as investment readings. I do channeled messages from past on loved ones. And I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, which a lot of people like because it gives a look at what's coming in all the main areas of your life over a 6 or 12-month period of time, depending on how far ahead you want to look. And I also do gift readings, which are always pretty popular towards the last quarter of the year during the holiday season as gifts, although I do them, of course, different times of the year too. So if you're interested, send me an email and we will go from there. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also provided. So I will see you in a couple of weeks, Pisces. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.